Nautilus, please. Kaisa Nico. Remember that was like a big combination
That would work.
back in the day? That'd be fun. Yeah, we'll see what we end up getting here as we enter the draft for game number 2. IG once again going for blue side as their first selection, as Weibo actually, being the losers, will opt for first pick this time around. But it's exactly what both teams wanted the first game. It's like very similar bans across the board so far. The Ashe Seraphine, again, would be a really bad thing to allow Jiejie and Mako to pick, so I'd imagine the Ashe gets banned here.
Jarvan and Orianna are both still open, as well as differences. The Ambessa, the Nocturne, and the Ambessa, Varus, and Azir are all new compared to the previous one. So, taking a look here, let's see how it gets rounded out with a Corki. That does mean Nami Lucian is on the table, as is Lucian Milio, as a very scary kill lane bot lane. Doesn't involve an enchanter, but it does give Elk most of the agency if Weibo want to look for that. I mean, surely it's just the Ashe Seraphine, though. You were saying it before, this is the thing that IG have picked in every series and won with.
Perhaps, though, with IG having first pick, they could be more worried about having that duo split up, and so instead going to take Jarvan Orianna as a trade. That could be the option here, as it is the Ori that gets locked in first for Renard. He's played it twice so far this season, is 1-1.
Wow.
And Weibo, at this point, you have to deny the Ashe Seraphine, or at least part of that duo. We'll see if IG feel comfortable in having Mako play that Seraphine on its own, especially alongside something like the Xin Zhao.
Okay, if they're not going to opt to take both bot laners here, it does beg the question, will it be something like the Yanara picked up? Given that Corki Varus is already off the table, I would definitely be reticent to leave ADC to second rotation for Jiejie at this point. I do understand why you'd want the Xin Zhao, and it leaves you in a weird spot because you'd want to slam Lulu here as well to have a really scary enchanter to go with it, but then, well, Weibo get to pinch a lot more ADCs off the table. I mean, going through the list of prio ADCs I can still think of, there's Yanara is the main one, but then there's that Lucian, which could come up as, are we just sacking the bot lane entirely? Have we got something cooked up for IG that they're hoping to save for second rotation? Clearly.
Or maybe they just feel like, the top tier bot lane duos are no longer available, right? You're not going to get Ez Karma, you're not going to get Corki Nami, you're not going to get Ashe Seraphine anymore. The other pairings are kind of in that B tier-ish, and maybe could all be comparable. So at this point, lock in a strong top side for yourself. Get Breathe onto the Jace, a little pocket pick that he's always had up his sleeve throughout his career. Set up a pretty interesting composition so far for Invictus Gaming. It will have to go against, of course, that Ashe Seraphine. So we'll see what IG want to do to try to just gain some bot lane prio back in their favor as we enter the second phase of this draft.
And now it is just about kind of guesswork from Weibo. You know what's on the table as far as prio bots go. You know what you've picked up. And now IG get to be in the driver's seat of remove some of these annoying counter picks from the top lane. I would imagine something like the Yorick is probably going to come off the table as a nuisance for Jace. We'll have to see what else that IG really value as problematic. Could also pinch something away from Xiaohu on this Orianna, as I'm trying to think of what else is really on the table, like that you would want to get rid of here. Maybe the Talia is something that you don't want to play against with the Jarvan. Has a decent little combo, but it's honestly a lot of guesswork from both teams, and I still think that IG are going to be happier because they get to see one more Weibo pick before they have to commit to what bot lane they're going.
I'm just trying to think. Ashe Seraphine has been so oppressive in their tenure down here as a bot lane duo ever since first stand, really, when BLG was one of the ones to really innovate on that selection. So far, not really a lot of answers have worked out. Yunar Lulu, to try to scale into it, has traditionally not done well here into the LPL or really globally in this league. Maybe you go for something a little bit more unorthodox, like a Zyra Khan, to try to just survive a little bit, but even that sounds risky in its own right.
Okay,
the options are maybe limited. Maybe a Caitlyn lane is what I'm looking at this point.
See, you're thinking very normally, very traditionally. How does Silas support sound for Mako? It's a pretty good angle for it right now. Silence the mirror with the words coming out of my mouth. There is no goddamn way. There is no goddamn way. Hold on.
You get
what are we cooking?
Both. You get 2 OP ultimates. You get a bit of a dot. You get the spell shield of the long range abilities. Could it be possible? A Mel bot lane could be interesting too. You add a little bit of range.
They're just playing with my heart right now. Like, where are we going?
This is the rule about casting: is you're not supposed to talk about the hovers. And so
I know, but it's
we're gonna
exciting.
Get a Jhin as
That's
your
why we fall for it.
This is what you get. You get a Jhin pick.
Damn
it could be with the Anivia though, adding a little bit of extra range, a little bit of extra DPS back.
I mean, to contextualize a bit of some of those hovers, we did see, I believe it was actually Erha playing the Mel support into the Ashe Seraphine, and it looked pretty mid, if we're honest. So, not opting for that one, as it appears to be. We've got some hilarious chuckles going down, as it is Jinivia in the bottom lane. Yeah. Will it work?
That was impressive.
Yeah. You know, if it works, we'll keep it. If it doesn't work, we'll never have to think about it again, because what you've got right now for IG is this bottom lane can play long range really, really adeptly. They can sit basically a screen and a half away, tag you with an Anivia slow on the ultimate, and then a Jhin W comes in, and ideally, step 2 is you have a Xin Zhao flying at you with Orianna Ball on them, and then you will die, or Jace shot blasts rain down on you. Weibo, Deja Vu, they run at you and throw ultimates.
It does feel like Weibo have winning side lanes in this matchup. I think the Jax is a great answer into something like a Jace top lane. That's why you don't always see it get blind picked in this day and age. Zika obviously has a lot of experience on that Jax, knows how to take advantage of a matchup like this, and of course Ashe Seraphine, always going to be able to generate push. And that will really open up a lot for Jiejie on this Jarvan. You take a look at the carries on this team, Orianna, Jhin, even the Anivia. No dashes, no ability to get out of that Cataclysm, so they will be very, very vulnerable in this early game, and Jiejie will once again have to take advantage of that if they want Weibo to even up this series.
Completely agree. It is JJ's game to win, and win they very much need to do. This may be a double round robin in Group Ascent, but going 0-4 in your first sets against, honestly, your opposition for what should be the middle to the top of the table would be a horrible start for Weibo Split.
Yeah, when you take a look at, who could contest for one of those final world spots going into the end of the season, these are two teams that really do stick out. Obviously, you got your top esports, your ALs as well, but these are these teams on the bubble. We'll see if that bubble will burst here, or if IG will jump up to that 4-0 score. We got game 2 coming up. Okay. Wait. What is Xiaohu doing? Okay. Did you notice that they said WBG Jiejie?
I didn't. No.
That's like a lot of whoever's leading the cheer there. That's a lot of unnecessary syllables. You probably could have just said like Weibo. I don't know what the traditional Chinese way of saying stuff like that in Chinese is, but something that I just noticed there.
No, I get it. You're playing an efficiency game. I understand.
Yeah. Just a lot to get out.
We want to get as many Jios out as possible. And, they're at least a very vigorous crowd today, which, understandable when you take a look at this draft, and I'm not going to say it looks wacky, but, I mean, the bot lane definitely does. It's something out of the ordinary, and Breathe already getting off to a lead in the top lane trades. It's an area where we've given Zika a lot more agency from Weibo to go for plays, but with Breathe on this Jace, so much potential to just completely batter him in the early game.
Yeah, Zika started Leap Strike level 1, which is not what I would have expected. You really need level 2 or even 3 on Jax to start contesting this wave, and so it looks like Zika is going to be fine. He has second win and has V-Shield, but certainly not an ideal start to this lane, especially after Breathe really pounded him in game number 1 on that Gnar.
Oh, I love this. Wei is already down here for a fight.
Flourish landing onto Elk, and Wei level 3 immediately going in. Lands it when becomes lightning and will take down Elk for first blood. That is IG off to the great start here in game number 2.
Harvesting summoners. Everything is now gone from Weibo's bottom lane, all for the cost of Jungler's Flash and Mako's Heal. Absolutely beautiful. This Anivia support is something that On brought into the limelight, and nobody else has really been able to make look good. So if we get a second support here that can make it look awesome, then that is going to be big things, considering we have BLG playing IG this week. That's incredible.
I'm really curious to see how this bot lane got into the position that they did. I mean, I know that Jhin and Anivia both have long-range skills, but seemingly this is the matchup that could potentially contest the Ashe Seraphine. Just having long range and being able to get a little bit of prio is something that doesn't normally happen against Ashe Seraphine. And that sets up way for a beautiful gank and an early kill that's going to really stymie that snowball that Weibo were hoping to build.
Part of the reason that Ashe Seraphine is so oppressive is they, theoretically, completely dictate the trades. Ashe is already annoying to lane against because she can just chuck the W at you and constantly barrage you with those slow arrows when she either wants to chase you or wants to run away. Seraphine makes that impossible to escape from if you can layer down those beat drops to turn it into a stun or worse. And so now we're kind of in a weird spot where, because the Jhin and Nivea can contest it, hold up. Okay. Yeah, that's what it is.
Flag and drags out, so nothing too much there. Yeah, but definitely the lane's not going the way that Weibo would have hoped for at this point, considering the draft that they have set up for themselves.
100%. You need this bot lane ahead or at least on parity. Obviously level 6 is when they get truly terrifying, but Jiejie does not commit the cardinal sin of laning against Ashe Seraphine and not going cleanse, so it will at least be able to eat up some of those CCs that will keep Mako alive. Plus, I imagine through the egg, it's actually quite annoying to break through this Anivia, even if you do tag them with the CC first. So I do like the theory. It cooks. It's just a question of if they're allowed back in the kitchen after this bottom lane. This is exactly what we want to see out of IG. Something creative, something that shows that they are just truly a step ahead of a vast majority of the league.
And it looks like they forced another back out of Elk, so he definitely not feeling super great about his situation right now. Down 15 CS at this point. It's almost like they're leaving bot lane out to dry here, as Jiejie instead going for an invade on the top side of the map with this blue buff still available here for Jwei. He has really not touched this area of the map so far.
No, and I really love how Breathe, as a jungler myself, seeing Breathe come down to protect his blue buff is just heartwarming. Knowing that this is one of the few areas where Jiejie can start to drag some agency back into the game, stealing away camps. Having that guarded means that Jwei isn't being punished for his level 3 gank bottom lane. It's part of the reason that we saw level 3 ganks kind of fall out of fashion, was because you could go so far behind in XP. And, ooh, heavy trades.
Tipper's down. On to Renard, going to take him down to about 30%. As this dragon now available down on the bottom side as well. Back was taken by Jiejie and Mako, so maybe this is an angle for Jiejie to get this dragon stack rolling. Start this up with Hong, have Elk pushing this bottom lane forward, and it looks like this should be theirs to take.
Good awareness, sees that Jwei is on the other half of the map with that ward placed down earlier, so it is going to be uncontested. A Jhin W, sadly for IG, not going to be the stealing blow from this one, as there's not really much else to happen. You know that Jarvan's on this half of the map, so it's really just Mako trying to avoid losing his vision control. Pre-having that upgraded support item, having every little ward counts a lot, particularly when, as we've seen, these junglers can get a lot done if they get to gank you early.
Looks like it could be Jiejie losing some of his topside jungle, though, in response. You have Zika already being shoved in and forced back to base. Jiejie going to try to maybe steal this one away with a flag and drag, but Jwei should just smite it down. He has level 6, and that ultimate advantage is not something that Jiejie wanted to mess with at this point. Meanwhile, bound in the bottom lane, Wall has made Elk try to reposition just a little bit, but you can now see the Ashe Seraphine starting to punch back in this 2v2.
We have on the other half of the map I was going to say contest, because it was really weird to see if Zika was going to come in and make this a problem, having just come off a recall. But we'll back off, being respectful from IG, playing the game slow, exactly what they pride themselves on. Xiaohu, though, oh, the Raptor reset!
Yeah, he's still not level 6. Oh, the Wind Becomes Lightning does not land, but Jwei could still be able to take this one down. He is just stealing away and bullying Jiejie out of his own jungle on the top side.
Man, that is savage. Denying the level 6 from this Jarvan. The fact that the 3 people who aren't level 6 are the 3 key ultimates for Weibo to start this game rolling is indicative of how this early game has felt. We need to see, as soon as those level 6 marks tag over, some level of aggression, some level of play starting. Punish Jiejie in lane. One of the main weaknesses we've seen from IG is him dying in lane, but this game, it's not looked even close. Last game, there was no chance of it.
Instead, they're going to look mid. There's the Tibbers, and there's the dunk down from Jiejie. Really nicely done by that mid jungle of Weibo to finally get back on the board.
Very, very happy with this. It is something that we need to see. And having Annie a bit accelerated, unlocked, potentially if she ends up going towards that Malignance first, a very standard, means that that is all the more Tibbers to be thrown onto the bottom lane as Jwei walking up to contest.
Okay. Jiejie's able to get one grub, but remember that there's no Cataclysm left available on this Jarvan. It's 1v3 right now for Jwei. He's forced to flash away from the Flag and Drag, but Xiaohu doesn't have any mana. There's the ultimate, and Zika's finally able to take him down. It's going to be both grubs going the way of Weibo at this point, and they'll be very happy about how that one ended up.
Very rash from the IG jungler. Renard had the TP, but it's still pre-level 10, or 10 minutes, sorry, so it's a lot slower.
Oh, there's the arrow, but Elk, he's now trapped here behind the wall of Mako, and the curtain call's going to get opened up. Elk flashed way earlier, and he will end up going down to the Bird. Bird is the word in the bottom lane as Mako gets himself a double kill.
That was crazy! Just completely playing with the edge of tower range there to dismantle the Weibo bottom lane, and exactly where the tempo should have gone into Weibo's favor is where it drops. Elsewhere on the map, paying back to keep the game alive, though. As let's see how this even kicked off. I think, yeah, okay, Mako fainted going for a roam.
I mean, this is fine. Just, at this point, you got a flash.
It's okay. Oh, you
tried to
back
walk
into
around the
tower
wall.
range?
I don't know why. What is it? That's
Yeah, if he just frames 0 flashes, he's okay. And Hung does the ultimate while under tower. I think if he doesn't do that, he gets to walk away with enough HP that Mako doesn't break through him. But complete missteps from the Weibo bot.
And now Hong could be in some trouble as well. Shockwave forced to flash away. That's the spell that perhaps should have been used down in the bottom lane a little bit earlier. You think this Nivea support pick, Colin, it's been around 2 months. At this point, Elk's got to know what that wall does.
It does play tricks on the mind, and Nivea W is one of the stranger abilities, because there's not much in League that interrupts your auto-pathing in the same way Nivea does. As Xiaohu doesn't have flash. Okay.
Breeze still gonna flash. They're still gonna land the Tibbers. They're going all in, and it's going to work out for them. Hey, shout out to Xiaohu for knowing the angles a little bit better than me. Zika is able to get that kill, and Weibo starting to establish some dominance on the top side of the map.
Very nicely done, using the move speed from that shield. Xiaohu closing the gap and keeping the game alive. Again, it is the mid laner from Weibo that is really dragging the team along with him. Okay, Asher are going to go wide, not going to hit anything. As we need to see more of this, and with Flash on cooldown, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for Xiaohu to keep it going, unless Jiejie comes mid and punishes Renard again for Check's notes being Orianna and an immobile mage. I don't know exactly where else they're going to be driving this aggression.
At this point, it's kind of all you got to do at this point. Maybe you look for Breathe now, who doesn't have a flash again. Try to get this Jax back into the game a little bit. Still working towards that Trinity Force as his first item. That's where we see Jiejie operating right now. But Breathe is going to be happy to let this wave push in just a little bit further. He knows that he's in danger right now.
Do have, on this half of the map, both supports now roaming up. Does mean that there is 2 new targets, potentially, for the junglers to jump onto. But if we take over IG, securing themselves this dragon, it is far too early to be fishing for that Herald. Just protecting that side of the map is Mako from both invades and dives onto top lane. While his now completely independent bot gets work done. Is Elk gonna die here? Like, this is a dive angle if I've seen one.
Very separated, and Hong doesn't have his flash this time. Gonna get shockwaved here by Renard, but Xiaohu is here to try and defend his support, but he might have gone a little bit too far forward himself. The Encore comes out, but here comes Jiejie to try to save this fight. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Both mid laners that have dropped. Now it will be the remainder of Weibo looking to try to collapse. Deadly flourish from Jiejie will snipe down Hong. The egg will go down on the other side. Mako, he's still alive, will finally go down to the volley. But now Elk is unlocked, has a lethal tempo, and is looking to flash in on to Jiejie. A couple more auto attacks will do it. And Elk is back in the game. A double kill for the Ashe, and Weibo fight back.
Keeping the game alive again with this early aggression we want to see from Weibo. Punishing that play from Renard to go for Hong in their jungle. Really nice combo to knock Jwei down so quickly. However, if we take a look at the map after, there's not a lot to be gained for it beyond the gold itself, as Renard is on the rower Orianna, so not exactly as much battle power as you would normally expect from the mage at this point in the game. Xiaohu looks like he's going to get completely popped here, but with that Anivia ult going down and then immediately being turned off, just gives him a little bit more time to chuck out those last few abilities. Loveliness from the side of Jiejie to secure the kill. However, this looked like it was about to go out of hand, as Mako is able to just tag one more ability off at the end. Excellent flash, though, from Jiejie to bait Jiejie staying in the river just long enough that Elk Guarantee gets the kill.
That is a much-needed fight for Weibo Gaming, getting Elk back at least a little bit here in this game. And that's the thing about the Ashe Seraphine, though, Melvin. That's what makes this bot lane so powerful. Obviously, you're normally supposed to do great things in the laning phase, but even if you don't, you got a Seraphine on your team. That's going to work really well alongside this Ashe, and even Zika, once he finally arrives to some of these team fights, is going to be really benefited from having that Seraphine, having this Enchanter on his side.
And it is an area that makes it even scarier having the Jhin, because if you don't have the DPS, as soon as Seraphine gets that Echoes of Helia plus the Diadem completed, you become such a team fight monster when it comes to just topping people up. It means that IG have to really be on their best behavior. If they pick a target, that target needs to be focused by everybody, or you just won't kill.
Breathe just barely, I think, doesn't have his flash up. Stun's gonna connect. There's the Tibbers. There's the knock-up. The Cataclysm comes through. And that is a one-shot if I've ever seen one onto the Weibo IG top laner. And comes another stun here. There's Renard is TP'd in alongside Mako, but that's gonna be matched with the TP of Zika. And that's gonna force IG back away. Weibo scrapping and fighting exactly like we wanted them to, and they're taking advantage of it.
With both teleports down, though, we have Herald spawning in 20 seconds. Breathe will be up with TP at that point. And since Zika came all the way from bot pre-basing, he hasn't been able to pick up that Triforce. There's definitely an angle where IG can convert this into a Herald while they have superior items. Now they are getting the mid-push, looking like that is going to be the call, and Weibo kind of scattering to the wind to just get whatever vision, whatever gold they can before this dragon in a minute and a half.
IG should be able to pick this one up. It looks like instead the focus here for Weibo is just getting some plates on the bottom side of the map. And you gotta credit Xiaohu so far here in this game. Had a really good opportunity of doing well in the laning phase, and has not just used it to push to the advantage mid.
I love this.
He's gone all over the map. He's gone to the top lane, and now he's going down to the bot lane to try to punish Breathe again. This time he does have his flash up, and Xiaohu does here as well. The Encore going to land onto 2, and the 2-man flag and drag also going to chunk out members here of Invictus Gaming, but another deadly flourish from Jiejie is magical as it takes Hong down for the 3rd time this game. Elk here going to face check here onto Mako, as the Anivia does have to flash away. And Power Shock Blast here from Breathe, not nearly enough as Jiejie strikes him down with the Dragon Strike. And that is Weibo getting a little bit of an answer back, but it was not the entirety of what they wanted.
Overstepped from the Game 1 MVP right there in what was, up until that point, a really awesome play from both sides to watch. Like, just excellent use of the mega long-range Breathe. This is greedy. You haven't had time to base yet.
Oh, he doesn't have the To the Skies anymore. Gonna get slowed up here by the volley. Elk forced that flash. And you saw how valuable it was to not have that flash onto Breathe over these last 5 minutes here, Melvin. So certainly Weibo going to be able to take advantage of that again.
Oh, Xiaohu is rubbing his hands together, something awful after hearing the top lane no flash. It will be the Dragon started up, and Breathe is forced to TP up to the top lane to match and deny these plates. With the Rift Herald in pocket, though, IG at bare minimum should be getting some mid lane damage down, as they're just kind of walking at Weibo, who is split everywhere.
Zika running down first, and yes, Weibo not answering this Herald, at least for the time being. Will have to be the Jax to try to burst this one down, but the tier 1 tower is going to drop. If you're going to trade that for the Dragon, I think IG will be happy enough. Wei tries to go for some steal, but it will be secured by the jungler here of Weibo. In goes Wei, pops that Crescent Guard, another deadly flourish going to connect onto Xiaohu. He gets shockwaved and knocked all sorts of ways before going down. Jiejie using that Cataclysm to try to buy some time. He flashes away, and IG still looking to continue the chase. Wei is relatively low, but he has a big front line trying to support him as well. They're between the towers. Elk able to get away from the deadly flourish. No, it connects once again. Jiejie has been unbelievable in hitting these spells, and it allows for IG to get 2 kills in trade of the Dragon.
The deadliest flourish, as IG will take away the follow-up after the objective. They showed in Game 1, dragons don't necessarily have to be your win con if you could get a bit more gold. It's not as much of a gold lead as they were able to accumulate in the previous game, but it's only a matter of time if they can keep executing like this, playing it so slow. Way barely a bit too off there to go for the steal timer, but this, I thought this was a crazy commit. But the fact that he was able to get the ultimate down ahead means that Elf cannot DPS him down. This is a bit of a Xiaohu getting his own medicine as everybody chucks everything to blow them up. A beautiful wall from Mako has now opened up 2 targets to play on who have no flash for the next 5 minutes.
Just another incredible usage of that Deadly Flourish. Jiejie making Jin look like a powerful champion. Not something a lot of players in the league have been able to do this season. And a lot of the Mako show as well, though. Once again, he has 4 kills at this point. He's actually leading the team in terms of takedowns.
Yeah, with Erha.
That is not necessarily what you expected out of Mako. You know, he just hit 11,000 assists. Maybe he's getting closer to a kill milestone as well.
Definitely not 11,000, I wouldn't think. But with him being caught out in the river here, he's full committal from Weibo.
Might have cast a cursed him. Yep, there it is. Chance Crystal Era will connect. And that is Mako going down and having his passive procced. Not the best situation at this point. As Weibo, to be fair, to give them credit, are still doing their best to find the angles, to get kills on the board, to be as aggressive as they possibly can.
And I'm going to say, this game's nowhere close to over because Renard has gone for Tickle Monster Orianna build, having the Roa and the Rocket Belt.
Ugh.
Chovy, what have you done to my world?
I hate this trend. I hate this trend.
I get it in some aspects. Like, I did try it. I've been spamming the ever-living hell out of Zoe, and it feels good on Zoe sometimes. But
yeah, it feels good on a champion that jumps around a lot and has high mobility. Yeah, I would. But on Orianna?
The only reason for it really is like as a disengage tool to avoid Annie. Hold up.
Looks like Wei's getting trapped in the Cataclysm for now, and a teleport has come forward from Zika. Charm lands onto just the Xin, and now this Jack's going to have to run the wrong way out of here. Nothing available in terms of major objectives, so just a trade of those summoner spells. Keep their junglers alive on respective sides, but looks like Breathe and IG trying to still play aggressive here, and that's been the name of the game for Wei. Just unrelenting in the enemy jungle this series.
Ooh, I'm a bit scared here. The Encore is down, but the Ash Arrow is up.
Yeah, as you say it, lands immediately onto Jin Zhao, who no longer is going to be able to get away here. There goes the Counter-Strike, and Zika gets on the board. He flashes over, gets the double kill, and a knockup's going to land on a Breathe as well. Shockwave not going to connect thanks to the Blast Cone, and Zika will jump forward again. There is the Jax, and the Weibo top laner has arrived to this series. It's a triple kill in for Zika, as Weibo win themselves a big fight on the bottom lane.
It was a really nice TP from Breathe initially to just cancel out Zika showing up, but then a massive overstay and Wei getting way too aggressive again. Twice over this game, he has just kind of sent it forward. And the problem is with this comp, your DPS is actually the Xin. Like, he is one of your main DPS champions, because otherwise, if you look at the board, it's Orianna basic poke. That's not breaking through Seraphine shields. And this is just far too aggro when on the map you could see Jiejie is mid. You could see that Renard isn't there yet. And so able to get just completely picked off here. And there is not really much for the rest of IG to do about it. Weibo doing what we wanted from them at the start of the day. If they were to win this series, it was going to be off the back of aggro. Constant aggro. Don't give IG time to think. Hit them in the face.
Conversely, this is a competition for IG that has to play around picks, play around poke, and play around Fog of War. Knowingly invading when you have 5 members is not necessarily what they wanted, as Renard is also forced to flash away. In comes Zika, another 3-man stun, and the Encore on top of it all. Already it's Mako going down, and now Elk is untouched on the backline as Renard is forced to go back with 40% HP. Another volley will connect. Breathe going to get rooted up and taken down by the Ash. And Weibo are starting to run here in this game number 2. They'll get the soul point, and they could even look for Baron afterwards.
Match point looking all the more real as this continues to go on. That is going to be a quite difficult to surmount, not insurmountable just yet, but quite difficult to surmount game state, as it looks like Weibo aren't going to opt to burn the Baron down. When I said please mind the Baron, you can take it sometimes. Like, you are allowed to. This isn't an unknown rule, as...
I respect them not throwing the game here, though, to be fair.
Yeah, no, it's decent, and this fight was extremely well executed, because Zika, as we saw, hiding perfectly. Xiaohu, what are we doing?
Not living, that's for sure. Shutdown going over, and it looks like the little Tiger of Weibo felt he was a little bigger than he actually was. Goes for one extra wave, gets punished for it, and that is going to stymie some of that momentum that Weibo have been building up so far.
My arms are crossed, I am not happy. I want Weibo to stand in front of this Baron and say, walk at me, and then watch IG walk at you, because they do not have good champions that walk at you. Xin is the only person that can walk forwards, and if you chuck an arrow at them, he has to reactively ult, or will likely be 100-0. The fact that there is only one guy that can do that for all of IG, you've got to take advantage of that, Weibo. Don't let the game tempo slip away from you. Don't let IG take control, because we know, we have seen, they will find a way back into a game if you give them the chance. The only saving grace for Weibo is you have a Jhin on the enemy side, so we're probably not getting a Baron sneak from IG.
Oh, we're going to double TP in from Weibo. They might be a little bit too early, though. Zika going forward. They're forcing the counter-strike early on to Jwei. Easy takedown of the jungler of Invictus, and Renard is far too late. They land the stun. They land the charm. Two-man shockwave, though, does find Elk. Will be able to take him down as Jiejie, but it will be two members down on the other side here for IG. Zika pops the counter-strike, able to get away from that crit, as here comes the curtain call. IG looking to potentially respond in a 4v3. Big chunk of damage lands in onto the Seraphine. There's still no jungler alive for the next 20 seconds on Invictus' side.
But Ashe is dead, one of the major DPSs from Weibo, and not wanting to sacrifice the amount of time on the map that would let IG just walk it down mid. That was a bit spooky. Okay. Okay, well, it's another winning play for Weibo that is like, it's winning minus, because you did do everything correct, but you just didn't push the lead after. Yeah.
I don't think Elk has ever played against an Anivia support before.
What's making you think that?
He just seems to forget that the champion has a wall, and I'm saying this with the utmost respect. Elk is one of my favorite players in the league. He's been one of the best stories to watch on Weibo, but he has not played around this Anivia very well. Mako, despite having 6 deaths, seemingly has a massive impact in how he's being able to play out these fights and keep Invictus alive in some of them.
It is notable that Weibo seemed to respect some tools initially, and that was a really good trigger pull, but then they need to actually walk it home. You can't just get the initial pick, especially when, as you're saying, there's tools like the Mako wall that can just come in from the side and completely swing the tempo, split you up, force you to burn unnecessary summoners, lose unnecessary members. Now, we're setting up for Dragon again. Let's take a look at the flashes. Renard gonna have his backup soon, tied to Jiejie's given the play that happened last time. Wei's nearly up, but not just yet. It's basically just gonna be Hung as the only person that isn't able to get out. Xiaohu, it's gonna be kinda close for his. And the reason that I'm drawing so much attention to the flash is because every time we see something happen right now, there is a lot of flashing yellow lights as arrows rain down from Elk, as walls spring up from Mako, and these are tools that if you don't have flash, you don't have a way out.
Taking a look at some of the breakpoints in terms of items that are coming through. No Guardian Angel will be available from Jiejie, although he is rather close. We saw a second rod picked up for Xiaohu. Elk gets a Vamp Scepter for a little bit of extra sustain. And the Seeker's Arm Guard on Zika, an underrated pickup as well, going to allow him to be even more disruptive into the IG backline. This will be the soul, the Infernal Soul for them. They can finish off this Drake, and IG absolutely know it, so they're sending all their power into the mid lane to try to gain control.
When you're playing against a Jhin as Jax, it's already difficult enough for Jiejie to get any damage down. Having that Seekers means that you effectively can never chuck 4th shot at this guy. You have to be DPSing other people, but it's going to be Zika and Jiejie in the front, as now Zika going for a long flank, quite like
this
this.
is a great flank. It looks like he's on vision though, so IG are going to know to back away for now. When Becomes Lightning does connect, but it will be Weibo retreating to the Dragon. They want this soul, they want it now. They're going to drag this Infernal out to try to allow for as much distance to be generated between it and IG. Breathe waiting in the wings on a ward in that brush. Jwei's looking to jump in. Dragon's at 4k. The top laners going to find each other. Xiaohu flashes over, but he's not going to be able to find a stun. In goes Wei. It will be a 50-50. Who's going to get the Drake? It's secured by Wei. And they deny the soul for now. Two-man shockwave does connect by Renard. Zika is going to be forced to flash. Curtain call going to get blocked by Jiejie to make sure that the Jack survives, but Xiaohu is not so lucky. He gets taken down by Mako. His 5th kill of the game, and IG saved themselves that soul from going over.
And it is that immaculate IG team fighting that somehow, in the most illegal of positions, finds a way to a winning play. And they know Weibo's trigger point. They are approaching this Baron. Whether it is just to get vision, or whether it is just to actually start it, it puts the fear of God into Weibo, as you see immediately running over here to double check.
I think they saw the graphic that we put on the stream. They know that they got to be wary of this Baron going down at any second here, Melvin.
It took him a game to get used to it, but this was such an incredible flash from Breathe, reacting to Xiaohu over the wall, leaving him completely dead to rights. And then Renard is actually zoning out both solo laners with the ball, which means IG, they get a biased fight. They have 4v3 in the river, and now everybody has to run away in a perfect choke point for Jin to just rain down hell from far away. Like, what can I say? If there was a way for IG to win this fight, it was exactly and only that.
Uh-oh. Zika has to pop that arm guard. He gets blocked by the wall. Trying to use that leap strike. Thankfully for the Weibo top laner, not going to matter too much just yet. But now this is where IG can start to utilize some of that poke as well. Breathe with that Muramana completed, able to dish out a ton of DPS. With those empowered shock blasts, Renard able to dish out some damage as well. And that's what IG are going to look to do. Gain as much positioning, as much vision as they can around the Baron pit, which has been Weibo's weakness, notably, throughout the early portions of this season. And try to make them create bad decisions for themselves.
It needs to be said, IG do not kill this Baron quickly. They barely kill it slowly. So it needs to be finding picks beforehand.
Looks like they're going to fully go in. Perfect Mikhail's coming out from Mako, but he no longer has that at his disposal. Now Zika going to get targeted and walled off. He'll be able to jump right to Jiejie and keep himself all nice and healthy. He still has a TP shield at this point. A little bit of visit to America as we're playing some NA RAM here with the Baron about a threat for both teams. Poke coming out from each as Xiaohu is slightly pushed away with the help of Wei sitting in that flank ahead of the top side river. Deadly Flourishes come out. This is the perfect setup for Invictus. Throw out the poke, make sure that Weibo are not at their full strength once they eventually decide to pull the trigger.
Do have another long flank angle from Zika, but he is being marked out.
Yeah, Breathe just able to golf him away as here comes Wei. There's the big shockwave combo, and that takes Ilk down. It is done already, a 1-0 in favor of Invictus Gaming, and they're looking for more. Xiaohu completely out of position, and IG have finally found their fight. Mako leading the charge here for Invictus, forcing a flash in, a stun, a kill onto the Seraphine. And it's an incredible fight here for Invictus Gaming. They're able to get 4-0, and it's only Jiejie left alive. Finally, the egg will not be able to take Mako down as he stays alive, and that could just be it.
It's got to be an end angle, surely. We have TP available from Renard right now. I don't know what on earth you could do as a solo Jarvan. It is 12 seconds on Elk, though. Do IG want to play for this end? They know how difficult that was, how time-consuming that was. Can they get it done? Mako zoning Elk off with a wall.
Here comes Elk. Will it be enough? It's a 5v2 underneath the Nexus turrets. Jiejie goes in. They're looking for Breathe. They take him down, but the Shockwave will find Elk once again. In come the respawns, but the Nexus is now exposed. Health bars are not in their favor. There's the shutdown. There's another kill, and it's Renard and Mako trying to save the game. Hoey trying to hit the Nexus. It's at 1 HP. 2 more autos will do it. One thumb down will save the game for Weibo. It's a triple kill for the Jarvan. And we will play on here in Game 2.
Oh my goodness, what a terrifying prospect for Weibo, being that up against the wall now. The problem is, they have Baron on the table, but Elk is dead. IG once again killed the most important member to delay this Baron. If Weibo want to commit to this, I don't think they're going to be at that Dragon on spawn. And let's take a look at how it started off, because it was excellent posturing from IG. And Wei calls the trigger with that route down onto Elk, zoned himself in, the instant knock-up off of the Q3 into the shockwave, and then they just walk it down mid. Jiejie playing excellently outside of Zika's range to make him look over but never be able to get the play, and it is a clean walk down from this point onwards with a extremely well done egg from Mako to hold the tower aggro the entire time until the last second. But here, it's hard to say if it's green. It's so close to just being one. It's two autos, like you said, of execution difference here. If that knockup doesn't hit two people, Breathe hits tower one more time, then the Nexus is open, and suddenly it's all over. But it was the fact that potentially even that, Jiejie having to use his last hit onto the tower instead of onto the Nexus, like every single margin here mattered with how close it got. But Weibo hold on barely, as now we get back to live.
IG just need one more fight. Will they get it though? Mako gets stunned up. He doesn't have a passive and gets taken down. No support available here for IG as Weibo, despite being with an open Nexus in their own base, are going to try to play on the offensive for the next little bit. They have Baron for the next 2 minutes.
And it is important to say, while we were looking at the replay, IG did secure the Infernal Dragon, meaning it is dual soul point for both of these teams. That next objective, both Baron and Dragon up in 4 minutes and change, are going to be essential if Weibo can't close it out here. It's all going to be about what they can get done with this siege, what IG can even repel. Their wave clear is middling at best.
Down mid lane they go in a 4v5. There comes the Encore, but Jwei pops the Crescent Guard. Really nicely done to mitigate a lot of that damage that already had gone down, but Weibo swinging the door back open. Oh, this is an LPL game if I've ever seen one here, Melvin. We are going down to the wire here. Don't know if Weibo's going to get much more with this Baron buff, but they have a couple more waves to work with as resets are starting to come through.
It's a real nail-biter. You can see how much IG can smell blood in the water. They want to force a play. They know if we just let Weibo stand here, the siege is going to be absolutely cooked for them. But not going for breaking the base. That could come back to haunt Weibo, considering how much they have to play defensive now. They will have Nexus towers respawning. IG, where will the counterpunch be? The Baron is not on the table in 30 seconds. No more sieging to be done. Huh, let's take a look at items. Good lord, I can feel my heart going a bit too quick after that.
3.5 on Xiaohu. The death cap's going to pack a punch. We have the full completed Zhonya's here for Zika. Jiejie completed for Jiejie as well. Both junglers have that extra life at their disposal. Jiejie's the Jhin. Jhin starting to pack a punch as well. Infinity Edge as well as that Mortal Reminder to try to negate some of the healing that Hong is going to bring to the table here on this Seraphine. The items are there for IG, but I don't know if they're going to ever find a miracle fight like they did in the mid lane again.
That's the thing about this IG team. They never look like they're going to find a miracle fight, and then they find a way. They engineer a way. They don't just... they don't stumble upon it. They are doing ever so small movements. They are marking off the flankers. They are ticking all of the boxes necessary to make the fight go in their favor.
Okay. Got that Infinity Edge as well. Oh man, this Weibo team.
That's a lot of damage.
So dangerous at this point. The Nexus turrets have also respawned, by the way, which makes it more difficult for IG to end the game immediately at the end of a team fight. Catch Crystal Arrow, going to connect onto Jiejie. He gets Mikhail's though by Mako, will be able to run back to safety, but Jiejie still looking, still potentially finding an engage. Throws out the Demacian Standard to scout things out a little bit. As now we're looking most likely for that Soul Dragon in 1 minute and 40 seconds time. IG was able to get their third with the Baron going over to Weibo, meaning that whoever is able to claim this final Infernal will get the soul for themselves.
But you have to be so careful as Weibo. If a single mid-wave passes that center point, if you are not there to contest every single one...
Oh, the wall! Forces Elk to flash away. Really nicely done by Mako. That means that the big carry for Weibo will no longer have that defensive summoner spell for an eventual decisive fight. Weibo trying to keep this series alive and go even at 1-1, pick up their first win of the regular season here in Split 2. A stark difference from their top 3 finish at the end of the first split. And it's because of performances from these upstart teams like IG.
And it is the inverted expectation. IG not really prospected to get a lot done, being one of the bottom teams in Group Ascend last split, expected to be the same this time around, looking like a completely different team, because it is. And now we have the TPs.
Oh, and there's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow again on Tomeko. He does not have the Mikhails, has the egg to be proc, but it gets scrambled instantly. And in goes Zika. Lands a counter strike onto Jiejie and goes golden at just the right time. Shockwave not going to find anybody as Renard will go down. And Weibo have found their moment. Jiejie popped onto Jwei. Will not be long until he eventually goes back into the death chamber as Xiaohu picks him up. It's a 3-0 in favor of Weibo Gaming, and they're looking for even more pushing down mid.
Will just be a pretty easy closeout. I don't think Jason Jin can do anything to hold this. Going for the wave.
Goes Breathe, going for the insect onto Elk, but it's not going to matter. In fact, he pushes him closer to the end of game number 2. Weibo bent, but they did not break. We're going to game number 3.
That was... I don't think any of the ways we were expecting a Nexus to fall this time around, and Weibo, it was hard fought, but they were able to get it done. Plenty of nerves throughout from both sides, and IG capitalized multiple times, picking apart narrow angles, picking apart team fights, finding those moments. But, alas, the Ashe Seraphine does come out on top. The Jin Nivea will likely not be used again this split. We'll have to see if IG come back to it at a later day, but given Fearless, we're going to be cleaning the slate and looking now at a raw game 3 between these two teams.
Weibo just got outscaled, man. Or sorry, they just outscaled, I should say.
Yeah.
Onto IG. I mean, the way that they were playing some of those fights out, not the prettiest. I think IG, their positioning around the mid lane, around the fight that they almost took the game off of, was exactly what they had to do. Weibo realized that, they adjusted, and then they were able to win a fight off of a big TP flank from Zika. Elk had some phenomenal Ashe arrows throughout this one, especially towards the back end of this game. So they even up the series, looking again for their first victory of the year.
When we start to ponder who's getting MVP for this one, I'm feeling like it's probably going to be Zika. I could see that. He had plenty of game-defining flanks throughout this and engages off the back of them. It was kind of a team effort. Like, Xiaohu pushed them to the point where they could contest in the early game, given how much was really bleeding across the map from Weibo. So honestly, I'm kind of at a loss. I think it's going to be a very split vote across who's getting what, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody on Weibo cares who's getting MVP, because they got a Nexus, for God's sake. Second one of the splits so far.
Yeah.
And now they get a chance to contest for Game 3 against IG, who shouldn't, is above them in the standings. Like, nobody really knows how to feel, especially after this. I don't know if this hits our criteria of IG now having to overcome a better-looking Weibo or not.
I think that overall, though, Weibo, despite falling behind a little bit in the early game, were able to really utilize their composition well. So I'm not super disappointed in IG yet. Maybe at the end of this game we will be a little bit more. I think that Weibo played really good, all things considered, despite falling behind in the bot lane early. You know, that's something that you want the Ashe Seraphine to be able to take advantage of in a 2v2 quite often. They instead focused topside. I think Jiejie played phenomenally here on this Jarvan. Would not be surprised if he's the one with player of the game. Not just for his 96% kill participation, but also saving the Nexus at the end of that one. That triple kill clutched up to even allow this series to continue progressing against his old team.
Yeah, if he doesn't get that knock up onto two people, Jin gets the 4th shot Nexus, and then it's gone. The game's gone. It's really just that making a difference. And so many times throughout this, I mean, nobody, with the exception of Xin rushing to a challenge target, has the ability to escape the Cataclysm. And you have to wonder from IG, how greedy was it to go with such an immobile comp? Because they got that close. They got 2 hits off of the Nexus close to winning the game. But Jiejie had all the tools. We said at the beginning of the game, it was his game to win. And by God did he do it.
Oh, it was a banger. Through and through. Really, everybody had their own moments here in this game. It was Jiejie, I think, that really deserved it, but you think about Elk with his Enchanted Crystal Arrow, Zika with his TP flanks that really won them this game at the end of the day. Xiaohu getting out on the map early and allowing for the rest of his team to succeed. A lot of good performances here from Weibo. Stuff that you could potentially be excited about. But still a little bit left to be determined. Again, they could still end up with a loss here in this series if they don't close things out in game number 3.
I think if IG pick themselves a slightly easier to execute draft, then it should be their series to still take away. I came into the day expecting IG to walk over this series. I think we're both very glad to see that Weibo has actually put up resistance and done it in a very Weibo way. The fact that IG made them sweat that hard for it, though, it makes me think when we come to Game 3, as long as IG can get themselves parallel tools, some level of pick, some level of frontline, and just a little bit of DPS, which is what they were truly lacking this game, then who knows? Who knows? At the end of the day, we truly couldn't have predicted the game, how it would end, how it got that close. The fact that Anivia goes to 1 HP in the egg, it was all over the place in such a fantastically LPL way.
I want to see if there's any way that IG could have just ended the game right here.
Plenty.
I mean,
there's got to be.
You mentioned Jiejie using the 4 shot on the tower, forced to reload this entire time, doesn't get another auto attack off afterwards. Just
It's
a tough
margins.
situation all throughout. Yeah.
The thing is, you could VOD review a Nexus race, siege, whatever you want to call it, this kind of play 100 times over, and there would be 100 different things that could go right and wrong. And it is literally every single thing matters, because when a Nexus lives on that low HP, there's no other way to look at it than just cheers of horror and joy.
You can't even blame IG for going for that.
No,
that was their angle to win the game. If they did not get that, this would have happened anyway. The scaling from Weibo really was out of control, and it was some sort of miracle that IG was able to even win that fight in the mid lane to begin with, because Weibo just decided to eat a bunch of poke for free back to back to back. So you got to take advantage of it. Unfortunately, just barely didn't work out. But if you're Invictus, still feeling confident, you are still 3-0 in the standings, let's do it. Game 3, let's throw hands.
Yes!
Try to close this day out. I'm just glad we get more LPL here today.
Peak. Whatever's going to happen next game, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be absolute cinema. Couldn't do more.
Take a look at our player of the game. It will be Jiejie on the Jarvan the 4th. If it wasn't for the kill participation, it was for literally saving the Nexus at the very end, even after Elk got shockwaved. Nicely done from Jiejie, getting some revenge against his former team in IG. We're going to take a short break for our final series of the day here on LPL English. Will it be IG climbing up to 4-0, or will Weibo get their first win of the spring split? We'll be back with more in the final draft right after this.